13 Stoic lessons to avoid being manipulated. The hidden war behind every smile. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Some are architects of your downfall, cloaked in compliments, camouflaged in kindness. They don't take your money. They take something far more valuable: your time, your trust, your peace of mind. And the most terrifying part? You rarely realize it until it's too late. In the silent battlefield of everyday relationships, manipulation wears many masks: sweet words, empty promises, a well-timed guilt trip. You think you're helping someone grow, when in truth, they're feeding off your light. Marcus Aurelius warned us long ago. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. Today, the obstacle is invisible influence. Those who twist your empathy into a leash, who diminish your worth to elevate their own. This video isn't about paranoia, it's about power. Your power to discern, to protect, to rise. Join us as we uncover 16 Stoic lessons that don't just expose the subtle signs of being used, but arm you with timeless strategies inspired by the likes of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus to build relationships rooted in respect, not manipulation. Because you weren't born to be someone's emotional stepping stone. You were born to walk with purpose, free, aware, and unshakably true to yourself. 1. Diminishing comments, when words become weapons. Imagine bearing your soul, sharing a hard-earned success, a dream you've nurtured for years, only to hear, "That's it." Or worse, a condescending chuckle, as if your joy was trivial, your efforts laughable. These aren't harmless remarks. They're calculated, subtle, and designed to chip away at your spirit. Stoicism teaches us, pain doesn't come from the world, it comes from how we interpret it. And these comments, however small, are not reflections of your failure. They are projections of someone else's fear. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." But this doesn't mean we suppress the sting. It means we choose to transmute it, to meet it with reflection, not reaction. Diminishing comments are often a tactic. When someone feels threatened by your growth, they'll try to shrink your victories. They'll twist your light into discomfort because they fear being left in the shadow of your becoming. So what do? A Stoic listens, but doesn't absorb. They reflect, but do not internalize. They don't fight with words, they fortify their soul. Surround yourself with those who lift your voice, not lower it. Those who celebrate your journey, not compete with it. In a world full of echoes that try to reduce your worth, be the unwavering voice of your own value, because your achievements are not for others to validate. They are the milestones of your becoming, and no sarcastic smirk will ever change that. 2. Broken promises, the empty currency of deception. Have you ever trusted someone who spoke with conviction, but disappeared when it mattered? They offered plans, promises, poetic declarations, but when the moment came, nothing. This is no mere forgetfulness. It's a pattern, a polished illusion, a performance designed to appear invested while never truly committing. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't waste what's left of your life in guessing at what others do and say, and thinking about what you yourself have done and said." In other words, don't dwell in confusion, observe and act. Stoicism demands clarity, and clarity comes when we measure actions, not intentions. Because words are cheap when not backed by character. Like fog in the morning, they disappear the moment the sun of responsibility rises. A person who constantly breaks promises is revealing their true loyalty, not to you, but to comfort. They enjoy being seen as generous, loyal, or caring, but they flinch at the weight of actually showing up. A Stoic doesn't hold grudges, but they do keep accounts. Not to punish, but to protect. If someone's blueprints are beautiful, but they never show up to build, stop giving them ground. This is not bitterness. It is discernment. As Seneca taught, A wise man is content with himself. He doesn't chase people who vanish at the first test. He invests only where action follows promise. So look around your life. Are there architects of intention who never lay bricks? If so, it's time to invest your energy elsewhere, where loyalty is lived, not just spoken. 3. Unilateral benefit, when giving becomes a silent surrender. Picture yourself in a boat, rowing with all your strength. But every time you turn around, the other person is just sitting there, smiling, watching, benefiting, offering nothing in return but vague appreciation and the illusion of partnership. This is unilateral benefit, the quiet, persistent erosion of balance. A dynamic where your kindness becomes expectation, your effort becomes obligation. And before you know it, you're no longer helping, you're being used. Stoicism teaches that virtue lies in mutual respect. Seneca warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." But sometimes, reality is what's hurting us. When one person gives endlessly, and the other simply takes, it's no longer generosity, it's self-abandonment. Ask yourself, do they show up only when they need something? Is their appreciation genuine, or is it just a placeholder until their next request? A Stoic gives freely, but never foolishly. Generosity without reciprocity is not nobility. It's neglect of your own worth. So what should you do? First, recognize the pattern, not with anger, but with awareness. Then set the boundary, not as punishment, but as clarity. If they disappear when you stop giving, they've revealed their truth. Relationships, whether friendships, family ties, or love, must be a two-way exchange of energy, time, and care. You are not here to be a permanent provider in someone else's one-man show. You are here to grow alongside, to share the journey, not carry it alone. True connection uplifts. False connection drains. A Stoic chooses the first, and lets the second drift away. 4. Disregard for your emotions, the silent erosion of your soul. There's a unique kind of loneliness that comes not from being alone, but from being unseen. You speak, but your words vanish. You hurt, but your pain is met with silence. You hope, but they move on as if your heart is a background prop in their story. This isn't just emotional neglect, it's strategic invisibility. A slow, quiet method of control that shrinks your sense of self without ever raising a voice. Epictetus taught, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of things. And when someone repeatedly disregards your needs, they are shaping your view of yourself, not as worthy, but as optional. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not inconveniences. They are data. They are direction. In a world that glorifies performance over presence, emotional disregard is a weapon of apathy, used to keep you compliant, unsure, small. The Stoic doesn't rage in the face of neglect. They awaken. They listen not just to others, but to the inner voice whispering, "This doesn't feel right." That voice is your compass. You are not a prop. You are not a placeholder. You are not a footnote. If your presence is only appreciated when it's convenient, withdraw it. A relationship should be a bridge, not a cliff. And when your feelings are routinely dismissed, it's not love, it's power play. A Stoic doesn't beg for empathy. They embody it, starting with themselves. Protect your peace. Speak your truth. And remember, your silence will never teach someone to respect your needs, but your departure just might. 5. Emotional manipulation, the art of invisible chains. Not all manipulation is loud. Some of it is dressed in soft smiles, gentle tones, and calculated praise. It doesn't steal your money, it steals your clarity. Your confidence slowly withers, not from failure, but from a constant tug-of-war between validation and subtle criticism. This is emotional manipulation, and it thrives in ambiguity. Marcus Aurelius once declared, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. In manipulation, that power is what's under siege. They don't attack you, they reshape you until your self-worth depends on their moods. One day they lift you up. The next, they undercut you. It's a delicate dance of control disguised as connection. Stoicism trains us not just to feel, but to see, to examine patterns with reason, not excuse them through emotion. If your light dims every time you're with them, that's not chemistry, that's conditioning. The Stoic warrior responds with awareness and sovereignty. Not rage, not revenge, but clarity. Draw your boundary. Speak your truth. Not because you're fighting back, but because you're stepping out of the cycle. No one holds the key to your peace but you. The Stoics believe that inner tranquility is our highest asset. And if someone constantly stirs your waters to feel powerful, they must go. You don't owe anyone your confusion. You owe yourself clarity, freedom, and the unshakable calm that comes from owning your mind. Let their chaos stay theirs. You, my friend, are done dancing in shadows. 6. Lack of genuine support, the quiet weight of going it alone. There's a moment, subtle but deeply unsettling, when you realize you're standing on life's edge, and the ones you thought were with you are simply watching. They nod, they smile, but when the storm hits, their cheers vanish like echoes on the wind. This isn't friendship. It's not love. It's emotional ghosting, where presence is performative and support is seasonal. Genuine support isn't about constant agreement. It's not blind praise. It's about being present in the trenches when life doesn't look Instagram-worthy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. But what's love without effort? What's connection without commitment? When those around you only show up for your highlight reel but disappear in your darkest reels, you're not in a bond, you're in a transaction. Stoicism teaches us to expect little but remain open, to value truth over illusion. So look closer. Are they invested in your dreams or merely tolerating your voice? Do they celebrate your wins or subtly compete with them? Do they check in or only check out? A Stoic doesn't resent the absence, they recognize it. You don't need a crowd. You need a few who truly care. Seek those who are there when it's inconvenient, who ask how you're doing, and wait for the real answer. These aren't just supporters, they're your tribe, your mirrors, your armor. Because in this life, support isn't measured by applause. It's measured by who still stands when the lights go out. 7. Constant competition, when connection becomes a scoreboard. What if every smile had a silent calculation? Every favor a mental invoice? Every act of kindness a transaction in disguise? In some relationships, you're not walking side by side, you're locked in a hidden game, where one-upmanship replaces support, and your every success feels like a threat to their ego. This is not friendship, it's a disguised rivalry. And worst of all, it often wears the mask of closeness. Seneca once warned, "There is no enjoying the possession of anything valuable unless one has someone to share it with." But when someone sees your progress as competition, not celebration, you're not growing together, you're battling for space. A Stoic sees this clearly. We don't resent others' wins, nor do we shrink to keep others comfortable. True connection isn't measured by who's ahead. It's measured by who's lifting while rising, not secretly hoping you stumble so they can surge ahead. So how do you respond? You don't argue. You observe. You don't retaliate. You redirect. Start investing in those who don't tally your value against theirs, who don't treat affection as a scoreboard, who don't weaponize your vulnerability to feel powerful. Let go of the quiet competitors. There is no peace in constant proving. You are not here to outperform your friends. You are here to become your fullest self. And those who love you in truth, they won't compete. They'll clap loudest when you win, even if they're still finding their way. 8. Absence in critical moments, the truth revealed in silence. They laughed with you when the sun was shining. They shared drinks, took selfies, made plans. But when the storm rolled in, when your world cracked open and all you needed was someone to simply be there, they vanished. This is not just absence, it is revelation. True character is not revealed in celebration. It's revealed in crisis. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, misfortune nobly born is good fortune. But even the noblest soul feels the weight of isolation when those they counted on retreat at the first sign of discomfort. Fair-weather friends are not friends. They are opportunists, playing the part when it suits them and exiting stage left when your scene gets too real. Stoicism doesn't teach us to resent these people. It teaches us to see them clearly without illusion. Their silence in your hour of need is not a mistake. It's a message, one the Stoic mind doesn't take personally, but takes seriously. You are not weak for needing support. You are wise for recognizing where it's missing. And you are strong for walking away, even if your heart wanted to stay. The Stoic way is not to seek crowds, but to seek truth. Let those who leave during your hardship make space for those who will stand with you in the rain. Because true loyalty isn't loud, it's consistent. And when you find those few who remain, not just in joy, but in despair, treasure them. That is where trust is born, and where Stoic strength is truly shared. 9. Lack of reciprocity, when your care becomes a one-way gift. You're the first to text good morning. You remember their birthday, celebrate their wins, show up in moments big and small. But when the roles reverse, when you need the same energy back, you're met with silence. No checking in, no effort, no balance. This isn't love. It's not friendship. It's a one-way exchange, cleverly disguised as connection. Stoicism reminds us, don't waste yourself in rejection, nor bark against the bad, but understand. Understand that constant giving without receiving isn't noble, it's unsustainable. A Stoic gives from strength, not from self-erasure. When you're pouring into someone who barely offers a drop in return, you're not helping them, you're draining yourself. The first step is reflection, not blame. Ask yourself, have I spoken my needs? Have I mistaken loyalty for self-neglect? Because sometimes the imbalance continues not because they're malicious, but because you've never asked for more. And that's where your power lies. As Epictetus taught, the only control you truly have is your own choices. So choose to set the tone. Speak. Be honest. Share how the lopsided effort makes you feel. If they rise to meet you, there's hope. If they dismiss or deflect, there's truth. Reciprocity is not about keeping score. It's about building something real, a bond where both souls give, receive, and grow. Don't settle for emotional charity. You're not here to prove your worth through service. You're here to live it, alongside those who see, value, and return the energy you give. 10. Betrayal, the slow unraveling of trust. Betrayal rarely roars. It creeps in softly, like a shadow under the door, subtle, patient, and cold. It starts with a promise broken, then another, a secret kept from you, a choice made without you, until one day you wake up and realize the person you trusted most has been slowly rewriting the story without you in it. This is the most dangerous kind of damage, not loud but cumulative. And as Seneca reminds us, he who does not prevent a crime when he can encourages it. In Stoicism, betrayal is not just a rupture in relationship, it's a call to re-examine your alignment. Have you ignored the signs? Excused the silence? Justified the distance? Because betrayal doesn't always look like treason. Sometimes it looks like convenience, like absence, like smiling while they let you fall. A Stoic doesn't react in rage. They respond with clarity. You don't need to explode. You need to decide. Confront if needed, not to attack, but to affirm your worth. To say, I saw this. I felt this. And I won't carry it any longer. If repair is possible and mutual, rebuild, but only on stone, not sand. If not, walk. Not in bitterness, but in alignment with your values. Because your peace of mind is not worth the chaos of false loyalty. Let betrayal be your turning point, not your prison. You are allowed to protect your heart without apology. And in that act, you don't just heal, you transcend. 11. Selective availability, when busy becomes a barrier. You're always there when they call, quick to respond, eager to help, a constant lighthouse in their storm. But when the tide turns, when you need something, your messages float unanswered. Your calls echo into silence, and suddenly their busy schedule becomes a convenient excuse. But here's the truth, availability is a choice. And selective availability? It's a subtle form of control. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So ask yourself, would you choose to be someone's emotional safety net, or their equal? When someone always sets the rhythm, always controls when they show up and when they disappear, what they're really doing is keeping power. Power over your expectations, over your hope, over your perception of the relationship. Stoicism doesn't tell us to beg for time. It teaches us to value our own. If someone only enters your life when it benefits them, they're not participating, they're orchestrating. This doesn't mean you must react with bitterness. It means you must respond with boundaries. Your time is sacred. Your energy is a currency. And if someone only invests when it's convenient for them, it's time to reconsider the exchange. A Stoic doesn't demand loyalty. They observe consistency. So pull back, not in punishment, but in peace. And see who leans in when you're no longer the one reaching out. Because true connection doesn't require chasing. It happens in mutual presence. 12. Guilt tripping, the emotional debt you never signed for. After all I've done for you, I thought you cared. These aren't just words, they're weapons. Forged from your compassion, sharpened by their need for control. Guilt tripping is the art of emotional extortion. It doesn't need shouting. It doesn't even need truth. All it needs is your empathy and your silence. But here's what Stoicism teaches us. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. And guilt, when used as a leash, is not your burden, it's their tactic. People who manipulate through guilt don't want understanding. They want submission. They want you to feel bad for putting up a boundary, for saying no, for simply choosing yourself. But let's be clear, saying no is not betrayal. Prioritizing your peace is not selfishness, and your kindness is not a debt to be collected. The Stoic path is one of rational action. It teaches us to make choices not from pressure, but from principle. So when guilt knocks, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this from duty or from fear? Would I still say yes if guilt weren't standing in the room? If the answer is no, walk away. Calmly, confidently, unapologetically. Your energy, your time, your care. These are gifts, not obligations. Don't let anyone wrap them in chains disguised as affection. Remember, a Stoic doesn't let others steer their emotions. They hold the reins. And sometimes the most powerful act of self-respect is simply this. No. 13. Lack of personal interest, when your voice meets a void. You share your thoughts. You open up about your day, your dreams, your fears. But what greets you in return? A blank stare, a nod too slow to be real, or worse, a sudden change of subject back to them. This is not a conversation. It's a monologue with a silent witness. You're not being heard, you're being tolerated. And slowly, your voice begins to retreat. Not because you have nothing to say, but because someone keeps reminding you. Your words don't matter here. Stoicism teaches us that dialogue, like life, must be rooted in reciprocity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." So why share yourself with someone who's never truly present? Why pour into a vessel that offers no echo? A Stoic doesn't need to dominate a conversation, but they know when it's no longer a shared space. The danger here isn't just being unheard. It's the slow erosion of your sense of value. The creeping belief that maybe what you feel or think doesn't matter. Let's be clear. You're not too much. You're not over-explaining. You're simply in the wrong conversation. So what should you do? Stop begging to be heard. Start noticing who leans in, who remembers, who reflects, who truly listens. A Stoic speaks with intention, but chooses their audience wisely. You deserve spaces where your voice resonates, not evaporates. Where your stories aren't just background noise, but bridges to real connection. Speak where you are seen, and walk away from where your silence is valued more than your soul. Reclaiming your power, the Stoic way. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching a video. You're answering a call to awaken, to rise above the quiet manipulations, the empty promises, the one-sided affections that have drained you for far too long. This isn't just about spotting red flags. It's about planting your own standards. Boundaries not built from bitterness, but from clarity. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet battled every day to master one thing, his mind. And now, so do you. Because your peace is your empire. Your self-respect is your fortress. And your awareness is your sword. You deserve relationships that nourish, not deplete. Connections that build, not break. And above all, a life lived with deliberate integrity, not emotional debt. So let this be your moment of alignment. Reclaim your voice. Redraw your lines. Recenter your worth. And if this message lit even a small fire in your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button. Drop a comment. Just type, "I choose clarity over chaos," or share your own journey. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, not just to this channel, but to a higher standard for yourself. Because this isn't just a video, it's a shift. And you, Stoic soul, are just getting started. Stay aware. Stay grounded. And as always, stay stoic.